Don't worry, guys. I wrote it down. Potential. That's what this video is gonna be talking about. The last video I uploaded, for whatever reason, didn't even fully upload, and it was just me ranting almost aimlessly, and I didn't really seem to be focused on the subject. The subject was potential, and I just had a trillion thoughts boggling my mind. Trust me, this happens to me a lot. So, what I was talking about in the other video that I've deleted, is basically Anal Eating Mummy God told me there's this guy that has a high level of potential as a human being, which I assume is me, because every time they go, this guy, I believe they were talking about me. And they kind of had some serious inconsistencies with my psychology, at least things that maybe I'm not aware of, because they seem to believe I was like 1,000,000,000% Jesus. Can't believe it's not Jesus. Secret lore to Jesus, he liked fat chicks. News at 11. Anyways, so this potential thing was something, when he brought it up, I immediately started talking about this guy I knew that was a rapper, and how his raps were dry. They were dry, and I told him, you got the rap down, now put some wordplay in there. That was the essential thing. And I said I wouldn't do it in the other video, but I'm going to do it in this. The subject of being a creative and an artist is the ability to create what's called a pleasing aesthetic. Aesthetically pleasing, meaning people can like this thing, but it is also important to put yourself in it. When you put yourself in something, you make it your own. If I was ever a director of anything, you best believe there would be a thick or chubby chick in there at some point. The same way when you look at Quentin Tarantino, there seems to be an awful lot of women's feet in the movies. I'm just saying, I don't think any other movie has as much women's feet as Quentin Tarantino's has feet in it. Nothing against him and his fetish, but that's just how it be, alright. Thick Avengers with thick chicks. Black Widow running out of breath down a hallway. This kind of thing is, when you have an identity, which is something this church deprives you of. Everybody in this church is a gray person. They're designed to fit molds, is how they work. They're basically kept in an emotionally stunted state, and then they're pushed into a mold which they fill, but they're disingenuine because that was never them to begin with. Now, Carl Jung, dude, claims whatever I'm going through means I'm actually looping back to who I was at the beginning. I guess everything goes in circles like that. And I briefly mentioned in the other thing, the guy from the cinema page that's a director. What I was trying to say, I didn't mean to say the universe hates him. Maybe it does. I don't know. You'd have to ask him. But I don't think so, because he's got money. So what I was talking about was the failure to make it yourself. He understands the technicalities, the next evolution to that step, and there are evolutionary steps to everything. Once you learn a martial art, that's good. Once you make it your own, that's better. Okay? And sometimes making it your own, you take away from things, but we're not going to get into that. As Anal Eating Mummy God was talking to me, I literally just dumped on him a whole bunch of people that I knew had better potential than what they had, and they were, weirdly, when I think about it, a lot of these people were too busy kneecapping me, so I just, whatever. I spoke about this rich kid I knew growing up. His name was Alec, and, like, fucking, he had all the toys in the world, and just everything handed to him, and fucking, he was good at math, and all this shit, and honestly, nothing. He was going nowhere. because he had no real identity, he had no real interest, he had no real anything really. It was just kind of sad, and I don't know if that just comes from wealth. You're deprived of that, or rich people are just stupid. I just whatever. And I talked about a bunch of other people I knew that came from money who could have been something, and then bleh. And I voiced my frustration because here I am, a working class guy that has to work all the time, and I don't get to do anything outside of work. But then I see these losers who have infinite potential if they would just fucking use it. Okay? If they would just fucking use it. But then they don't. Or they're too busy comparing themselves to other people, or they're too busy. The worst is when they're too busy kneecapping. They're too busy smashing other people's knees to step into their own power, their own greatness. Okay? And that's a self-defeating thing, because once, let's say you're a runner and somebody shows up with a baseball bat and they just bash your knees in, you yourself will fall into this because they stole what was yours, and you will spend the rest of your life bitching and griping that they destroyed your knees instead of looking at what's right in front of you, instead of moving on, okay? And I guess I'm guilty of that, because a lot of these videos are me just being pissed off about what happened. But to be fair to myself, I'm more pissed off about the fact that there's some 300,000 people being human trafficked. But, and a little bit of that crazy shit. Blondie, I've come to accept that Blondie's going to steal my glory and the whole world's going to worship him, and I bet nobody's going to ask, why hasn't anybody killed this guy? He just turned in a massive organized crime unit, and these people are violent, stupid people. How come nobody shot him? I guarantee you nobody's going to fucking ask Blondie that. This ridiculousness, when I was talking to Anal Eating Mummy God, is he's like, there's this guy that's really smart, he's really wise, he knows more than other people, he's thought himself out of insane like situations time and time again, and he doesn't see his value as a person. And I was just, at the time, I had this moment, and I was like, well, there's these people that want me to kill myself so that they can go free. And I was like, is that my limit in life? Is that my potential, a human sacrifice? This is the best you can be? Sorry, go home. And then he went, argh! This is what happens when you're obsessed with murder, okay? It doesn't have to be a part of everything, okay? But, yeah. And, I don't know, he talked about how Blondie didn't want me to see how great I was. He talked about how didn't want this guy to know how great he was. Everybody on the planet doesn't want this guy to know how great he is. That basically, even the people around him were like Brutus, because we talked about Jesus and Brutus's betrayal, and he was like, everybody in this guy's inner circle is a Brutus. They all want to watch him fail. They all want to shrink him. They all want, and I was just like, yeah. I was like, look, dude, the whole world's against the guy, he's fucked. I was like, unless people want to shut the fuck up and help him, and then they can change things together and fix problems and stop human trafficking, I was like, no, they're all just working against him, he's fucked. I was like, he's a single man, no man's an island. And he's like, no, this guy can change things. He's special, okay? He's fucking special. And he said something along the lines that he didn't want to admit it. He didn't want other people to say it. And he was like, he just wanted the whole thing to go away. He just wanted the whole, and we had this kind of back and forth talking about this guy. And he was like, so you said that you can see the hidden potential in others. I was like, that's literally my job. I was like, that's my duty in life. I just go around seeing where people are fucking up and telling them they're fucking up. I mean, I don't do it anymore because, once again, my cuddle buddy was trying to help Stu murder me. The Brooks kid, raped Cherokee. Okay, he wasn't worth helping. These people were not worth helping, and that was my mistake because I, as a kid, believed that if you helped everybody, that eventually everyone would help everyone, and then we could become something great that way. That everybody could become great. And that greatness wasn't this weird finite resource that had to be defended. You had to blow people's kneecaps off and destroy and brutalize and work against them as hard as you can to stop them, okay? Because let's talk about where that got me. Okay, so I report this church, I did a good thing, and we know one of the rules of this church from Blondie is they punish good people. You cannot be a good person with this church around. They do not believe in that. That is why Kennedy got shot. That is why Lincoln got shot. That is why Martin Luther King got shot. That is why they murder anybody that is a genuine good person. Because once again, they're bad people, and when you're a good person, you curate their shittiness. You make them feel bad. So they can't handle that. So you're going to get killed. Or you're going to get poisoned with heavy metals, which is what happened to me. I was poisoned with heavy metals till I was retarded, told people I needed chelation therapy, forced into being president with a subpar functioning brain in an altered state, poisoned with more heavy metals, and then forced to do a series of things I would have never fucking done otherwise. Okay. This is the problem with everybody needs to be in competition and only the toughest guy survives. Let's say your toughest guy is duking it out and somebody like me gouges his fucking eyes out. Now he's blind, but he's gonna win because he's tougher than everybody else. But he's blind. And at some point somebody shatters his kneecaps, but he manages to kill everybody, and he's the king. But he's got 2 broken legs, and he can't lead because in the middle of this somebody decided to poison his brain with something, so now he has Alzheimer's. So he's completely fucked up. But he won, right? He made it, right? That's glorious, right? He's crippled, he's blind, his legs doesn't work, his brain doesn't work, but he made it. You see, this is the game the ultra-rich play on you. It is an unnatural, cruel, stupid game where they tell you you have to go through unnatural and cruel things because they won the birth lottery. Okay, and it was all easy for them, but you have to go through unnatural and cruel things to step into your greatness. They're not going to let you step into your greatness because they've created a bunch of insecure crabs. They are insecure crabs, and their goal is to stop you from becoming anything great. And when these people stumble upon somebody like me, somebody that can genuinely help them, that can offer fairly good advice, and I do it for fucking free, believe it or not, on these subjects of what you're getting wrong, what's not going right. And my brother's the same way. My brother has good fighting sense. He can look at a fucker throwing a punch and tell you a million different things they did fucking wrong, okay? He's a great martial arts instructor. This is his personal skill. This kind of subject I'm the same way when it comes to people's psychologies. I'm really good at figuring out exactly why they're not performing to their optimal performing levels. Like, I maybe not all the time, but I'm fairly good at it. So, yeah. This is what we got into talking about briefly on the phone, and I just told him he's fucked. I was like, he'll never make it, because even if he does, people are going to rip him apart, and by the time he has victory, there won't be anything left. And Anal Eating Mummy God was like, I had a vision, and your brother's gonna kill you. I was, okay. Like, I was like, okay. And he was like, I have to fix this. I was like, what? And then he hung up the phone, and then he called back, and he's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's not that bad. Okay, it's not that bad. And I was like, what I would have said to him is, Look what happened to me. I became something great, and all I needed was motherfucking chelation therapy, and nobody would give it to me. Instead, everybody just kept doing the stupid thing. And this is the stupid part. I was the fucking president of the church, and they still wouldn't fucking give it to me. Okay? And it's kind of weird that I've experienced the ego death, but there's still rage associated with that. But I think that's injustice. I don't think that's actual rage. I think that's righteous fury. Yeah. So, we have a mindless babble about potential, and then he was like, well, this is the thing, though. He was like, basically, what we do at this church is our guys are entitled to everything. If you have it, it belongs to us. You're not allowed to have anything. It's all mine, and it's all ours. And Blondie is entitled to basically is entitled to your greatness. He can steal it. Blah, 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 because he's a loser, and he can't come up with anything on his own to make himself great, because he's a loser. It's in his blood. It's in his nature. And I listened to this shit, and I'm just eye-rolling. And I was just like, fuck it, give it to Blondie. I was like, what are you going to do? And I was like, and he explained this, that either they were going to steal this guy's shit, and just eye roll, eye roll, eye roll, eye roll, eye roll, eye roll. And as I'm listening to this, the only thing that I think of now is, how can you not tell that you are in the wrong in everything you do? You're just in the fucking wrong. And I think about the good left undone, because somebody comes up with a good idea, they're capable of coming up with more ideas, but you're going to shoot him in the head and give it to some loser cracker. Okay? And you're going to stop that guy from coming up with ideas. I like, whatever. Stupid. It's how stupid people think. And that's how you know. And I realize now my biggest fear in life is stupid people being in charge, and I realize that Blondie in this church are incredibly fucking dumb, and they have pointed themselves in charge of my life, even though they are some of the dumbest sons of bitches on the planet, which is why everything is going to end badly. Not because of a fault on my end, it is because on their end, they are incredibly and unforgivably fucking stupid. And I'm just gonna say this, it wouldn't surprise me at all after all this shit. I find out Blondie knew I had a comprehension disorder. He talked to Gannon and found out there was no way I could ever learn to file pro-se. That even when I tried to turn myself into the FBI and my sister walked out there and lied to him, because that's what happened, fucking, he set that up to make sure that I couldn't step into my greatness. And this was all rigged and planned because he is that terrified of me stepping into my power. But here's my theory. I think even if I did, it would end with a bullet to my head. I don't think I would ever get anywhere. And I think it's just because the kind of people America turns out. It turns out garbage people. It turns out garbage people who are so jealous and insecure they break down and destroy the people around them. They break down and destroy everybody else's, when they should be just focusing on their lives and trying to develop as a person, instead of focusing on how they can kneecap somebody so that they can pretend to be better than them. Okay? We need more TV shows about bastards being bastards. Bastards ruining other people's lives. Bastards, like, you need a TV show about some ladies whose daughter is going to be an aspiring model, and then she fucking poisons her with weight gain pills and makes her obese. They need a show where some guy's about to become, like, the world's smartest dude and go to college. It's the happiest day of his life, and some bitch can't handle it, so she injects him with something that destroys his brain because she can't handle it, okay? And some guy that does this, he's a football player, but he's not even good at it. But there's a guy that is good, so he shatters that dude's spine and stops him from becoming a football player. And we need shows about bastards. And it would just be, I'm a glorious bastard. So when people sit down and watch this show, it should be a show people can't stand watching. But for some reason, they would have to watch it anyways. And when they see these events, they should be, dear God, I'm a disgusting human being. Because it would force introspective. I did that to somebody. I'm a garbage human being. Okay? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I don't really know. Once again, the belly girl saw something in me. Like, she's dead. Okay? Giovanni clearly thought I was something I'm not. And he's dead. Okay? These people all keep seeing something in me, and then they die. I couldn't tell you, for the life of me, what it is. I really couldn't, and I think it might be the altruism, doing the right thing because it's the right thing. And I now remember even my guy I actually liked in Georgia telling me altruism was a mental disorder, and I realized that was all Blondie because I told him being a narcissist is a mental disorder, and that's a truth. And he can't live in reality. He can't. So he needs to go around and have people lie about things that just aren't fucking true. He can't handle the fact that he's defective. Okay? He can't handle the fact that he does everything wrong. He can't handle the fact that he's emotionally stunted. And because he can't handle that, he will never recover from it. He will forever be that thing. Eternally. Because he's pathetic. I hope this one, even though it's clearly a rant, because I just went over a bunch of stuff all over the place, is a little bit more coherent than the last one. Yeah.